Moon Letter, Astrological Podcast. Jupiter opposite Pluto, July 2026, by Ben Belinsky. This July, there's a powerful planetary setup coming, involving 4 of the slow-moving outer planets, making an exact configuration. When we have such a complex pattern as this, the questions are how to read it, where to start. My answer is to read from the planet that is closest to the Sun. In the configuration we have coming in July, the closest planet to the Sun is Jupiter. That's where we start. A bit of background first. Jupiter and Saturn are the social planets. They deal with our place in our communities, our place in society. We can see their roles in the upbringing and socialization of children. Jupiter, as parent, encourages, saying, "Come on, you can do it," while Saturn places limits, saying, "Don't do that." Looking at the glyphs for these two, Jupiter is the hook that holds you up. Saturn is the hook that holds you down. Too much Jupiter, and there's a child without limits, an entitled brat. Too much Saturn, and the child is anxious, shy, inhibited. As ever, a balance is needed. So this July, over the span of a few days, Jupiter in Leo gets an opposition from Pluto in Aquarius, a trine from Neptune in Aries, and a sextile from Uranus in Gemini, all exact, at 4 degrees of the signs. Taking these in turn, and looking at their influence on Jupiter, before going for the whole picture. In Greek mythology, Jupiter was known as Zeus, the king of the gods, who ruled over the sky and Mount Olympus. Pluto, known as Hades, was the ruler of the underworld, the land of the dead. Although often depicted as rivals, in fact they ruled over different realms and respected each other's powers. And that's the key word for talking about this relationship: power. In astronomical terms, Pluto's orbit of the Sun is 248 years, while Jupiter's orbit is 11.8 years, for practical purposes 12. Because Pluto moves so slowly, Jupiter has gone once round the Sun while Pluto has barely moved through one sign. This means they meet, forming a conjunction or opposition every 12.5 years. So this aspect in itself is not so unusual. As I said, this is not necessarily a rivalry. It does not require a power balance to maintain peace. This is a mature relationship of respect, and even though we're heading to an opposition, we're not looking at conflict, we're looking at a complementarity. What can each give to the other? Here we have to remember that one of Jupiter's main roles is that of teacher. Not the elementary school teacher of reading, writing, and arithmetic, but the teacher of philosophy and spiritual values. In Vedic astrology, Jupiter is known as Guru. So here in this configuration, we have Jupiter, the Guru, teaching Pluto's curriculum, the deepest values that come from our understanding of the cycle of life and death. This is a learning about the nature of power, and it comes with its challenges. We've explored the influence of Pluto in Aquarius in a number of articles and podcasts, looking at Pluto's role in redefining what it means to be human, for example, in relation to the burgeoning of technology, the identities we construct for ourselves, and the way we live together in communities. Pluto will often take us right to the edge, pushing us to a crisis in order to make the necessary changes. Then we have the aspect from Neptune to Jupiter. It's a positive, supporting aspect, but this can go two ways. In the best sense, Neptune dissolves the boundaries that separate us, adding spiritual insight, wisdom, and compassion. This all sounds lovely, but to have compassion and to really appreciate and feel another's pain, to tune into the personal suffering of those in the conflict zones of the world, is not for the faint-hearted. It takes a certain strength and groundedness. It's a lot easier to retreat into an idealized vision of the world. And Neptune can provide these distractions, these illusions, these rose-tinted glasses. But when ungrounded, it can also add confusion and uncertainty. In practical terms, it's getting more difficult to tell an AI-generated video from the real thing. And when Neptune is backed by the persuasive power of Pluto, we are more open to being persuaded to believe 6 impossible things before breakfast. We've been living with the easy aspect of Uranus trine Pluto for the last few months, but it's been very much in the background, a feeling of deep convulsive change going on, massive uncertainty, but nothing we can really pinpoint and no sense of any way of getting through this. The addition of Jupiter to the mix, when it makes its opposition to Pluto and aspects Uranus, should clarify things. The implicit should come out of the shadows and stand before us, explicit and clear. Uranus contributes a suddenness and unpredictability to proceedings, making it difficult to say how this complex energy pattern will manifest in the real world. There are just too many factors and too many unknowns. Except to say that since all the planets we've mentioned are in fire and air signs, Jupiter and Neptune in fire, Uranus and Pluto in air, the power struggle for truth and clarity will be going on in the mental realms. But there's one thing, or rather one planet, that's missing from the setup. Saturn is in Aries, but not directly connected to the tight configuration of the other 4. Saturn is your reality check, making sure that your focus is on what's necessary, keeping you grounded during the shifts and feints as the various players try to control the narrative and run the show.
And for more astrological and spiritual musings, check out moonletter.co.uk.